Arsenal 3, Kairat Almaty 2. Another win at the Emirates Stadium in the Champions League for Arsenal to make it 8 out of 8, top of the table to finish off the group stage. Lots and lots to talk about, including some more debuts for some youngsters at Arsenal. This is the Real Arsenal Deal podcast. Hello and welcome back to the Real Arsenal Deal. Rav here, as always, your host. How is everyone? This morning I am recording this just a few minutes after the final whistle. Melbourne, Australian time. Arsenal have just defeated Kairat Almaty 3-2. Yeah, I was about to say 3-1 actually, but literally the final kick of the match, or the final moment of the match, the final play, Kairat scored to make it 3-2. Look, it's a great moment for them. It's a great experience for them, their fans. I'll talk about that a little bit later because it's some heartwarming scenes as well for them. Even just during the Champions League anthem, what I really noticed is you saw the smiles on their faces. Like I can't not mention that. It was very, very heartwarming to see that type of emotion from them. However, look, the real story is, for me, the major takeaway, even though he only played 45 minutes, it's Kai Havertz. I think this is massive for Arsenal. It's monumental for him to get 45 minutes of football under his belt, a goal and an assist. He was straight into action. From the opening outset, really, of this match, he was right into the thick of it. Like, he was involved in so much in that first half, and that's a major positive to take. It's otherwise, look, it's going to be a hard one to really talk about this match otherwise, because we know there wasn't really much at stake for Arsenal. It was 7 out of 7 coming into this match. We'd effectively secured top spot, barring a major defeat here and a major swing in goal difference. I think we basically secured top spot, and we know we needed to dial the temperature down, as Mikel Arteta had said, after that United defeat. I think I've said it as well in recent podcasts, and you've all probably noticed too. There's just a different tension, a different vibe in the Premier League. Watching Arsenal at the moment compared to the freedom that we play, the lowest stakes in cup matches recently and Champions League matches, it's very, very different. And we know that what's at stake in the Premier League. We know the pressure that is on Arsenal. We all want it so much. No one wants it more than Arteta himself. You can see it. The tension is palpable, even in the atmosphere at the crowds and the stadiums, which has come under the spotlight as well. So I think this has come at a really, really good time for Arsenal, this match, because just in a few days' time we're going to be right back into the thick of it in the Premier League. That schedule's unrelenting. It's been unrelenting for so long now. It's been like 3 games a week since late November or early December, I believe it is, and that's not going to ease off until the second or third week of February, I believe, because we're in every competition. We're in the EFL Cup as well, to come next week, midweek semi-final. We're in the FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League. We're right in the thick of it. It's why we built the squad as deep as we have, of course. Still, though, it takes a toll. It's taxing on the players. It's taxing on the manager, on the club. Like, there's a lot of emotional expenditure as well. So it's just been a difficult period for Arsenal to navigate. And look, in all things being equal, we're so well poised. We really are. And I've always maintained, I still believe we're going to lift that Premier League trophy, and I still believe it, that despite the loss, and despite how poorly Arsenal handled that occasion against United. It's just, look, it is what it is. Sometimes you just have to compartmentalise these things into a box. I still maintain that we're going to win it. It's just not going to come as easily or quickly as I would certainly prefer, and I imagine many of us would. So this match came at a really, really good time, because it allowed just a refreshener, just a palate cleanser. We could dial the temperature down, where the players could breathe again. We've made 11 changes, which is like almost unheard of for Arteta to do in a Champions League. 11 changes. That's kind of what we do in the early stages of the EFL Cup. So full credit to Arteta. Like, he read the room. He knew what we needed to do, and we've got players there who are itching for minutes. Like, we've got players who we need to get them up to speed. We need to get them in match rhythm, match fitness, and that was some major positive to take away in that regard. So just on that note, let's just quickly recap selection, because it was front to back changes. So Kepa in goal, White was the captain, which is I think is a huge moment for him. That might just slip through the cracks otherwise. So I'm glad I've mentioned it now. That's a huge moment for him. He's been involved for many years now at the club, really at the start of sort of Arteta's what do you want to call it, this project, this rebuild. So it's a great moment for him to lead out the club as captain. Mosquera, Calafiori back fantastic as well, because all of a sudden now we've got some strength back in depth in defence. We were running quite thin, weren't we, for the opening period of this since the new year. So all of a sudden in the last week or so, we've got Hincapié back into the fold, Calafiori back now, and Lewis Skelly started at left back. And I've got to say, if I was to pick a man of the match right now, look, aside from Havertz, who on the balance of his 45 minutes, he was excellent. Lewis Skelly was very good in this match. He was a real positive for me. He was keen. He's keen to get on the ball. He won almost every duel. He was very, very involved. He was playing with a bit of freedom, a bit of a throwback to last season where we'd give him the ball and he'd just have that brashness to come into midfield, to step up. He'll drive forward. It was really lovely to see. So I think it was a huge 90 minutes for Lewis Skelly as well. Norgard, who I've got a lot of time for, I think is the utmost professional, a great squad player to have. Just comes in, gets the job done. Minimal fuss. You never hear anything bad about him said. Like, he's just an excellent character to have, a real professional. In many respects, he's replaced that Jorginho type role, that leadership role within the squad. And then Eza in front of him, Havertz, who I've already mentioned, he was fantastic. And then Madueke's played the 90 as well. Gyökeres up front and Martinelli on the left. And look, I've got to say, I'm also really glad that Eza's played the 90 minutes as well. I just think you got to take these opportunities when you can get them, right? If you're going to play the players, some of them, just let them play. You almost just tell them at the start of the match that, look, rain, hail or shine, you're going to play the 90 minutes, because it can be difficult for players like Eza, Lewis Skelly, who that maybe they play under a certain tension themselves, knowing that if they make one mistake or whatever, are they going to be hooked? Are they going to come off at half time or on 55, 60 minutes? So I just think it's just nice for them just to know, hey, you've got the game. Just go out there, do your thing. I think Eza really grew into this match as the game went on as well. So from the opening minutes, it was on like Donkey Kong. Havertz was involved straight away. He almost scored. He was played in, just the ball was just a bit too far away for him to reach. But then I think was it 3 minutes or 4 minutes in? It might have been earlier than that. My apologies. I might be referring to the penalty for Kairat. But like a minute and a half, 2 minutes in, we found space through the middle. Now, I will fully disclaim this section of the podcast that I know it's Kairat. I know they're not at the caliber. I know they're bottom of the Champions League table. All of that stuff out of the way. You can only play who you play against, right? And I know that we don't get that space in the Premier League. We've all spoken about this many times before, right? European, there's the European setup, teams set up against us differently. They step up, they step forward, they invite us to play, and we thrive in that environment, in that situation. So just that passage of play was so lovely to see. It was Eza through the middle, straight down the ground into Havertz, and he himself looked up and then straight through the middle again to Gyökeres, and Gyökeres has scored an excellent goal. Wasn't the best first touch from him. It's just sometimes that's the nature of Gyökeres. He's not quite as smooth. The ball doesn't stick to him as well as it does to, say, Jesus or some other players, when they seem to just cushion the ball down, pillow it down, and they can trap the ball easily and keep moving. With Gyökeres, it's just the type of profile he is, right? It does take a heavier first touch. It just seems a bit clunkier, but sometimes it goes in your favour, sometimes it doesn't. Thankfully, he knocked the ball in front of him, and the finish was there. It was an excellent finish. Speaking of Gyökeres, how he hasn't walked away from this game with maybe 4 goals, 5 goals, I'm staggered by it. I think I read a stat that I read it on Blue Sky, that he had more shots on goal in the first half than touches. It was incredible. And you saw it on his face too. He knew that he's left some goals out there. There was one sensational cutback from Lewis Skelly. Excellent drive and run in behind the fullback. Cutback on a platter, on an absolute platter really. How was Gyökeres missed that? I don't quite know. I'm not sure what the XG stat would be on that. In fact, Gyökeres alone probably has produced 2.5 plus XG just on his own, and just has the one goal to show for it. But look, it is what it is, right? It's he's showing up, he's putting himself in the right positions, he's presenting himself. We're finding him as well. So in that respect, I take the positives there. The finishing, not quite up to sharpness, but you just hope that for Gyökeres, it's also just a big boost. Get that goal rhythm scoring again, get that touch, get that cohesion with his teammates, and hopefully the goals, the finish will actually take care of itself soon. So Havertz had an assist to his name within the opening few minutes, and then down the other end, pretty much out of nowhere. Look, I don't know what Calafiori was quite thinking. I know it's his first game back. It's his first start after quite a while, actually. So sometimes, there's that little moment of panic, and he's not quite in the match rhythm himself. He didn't really need to tug the shirt back like he did. Look, for me, it was a clear foul, a clear penalty, no complaints whatsoever. What was quite funny is watching on the coverage as they're doing the VAR check, the look on Calafiori's face. I mean, that was a guilty look. That was guilty. Yep, I did that. And he kind of knew. And when they showed the still images, he's got a fair piece. Jorginho, I believe the gentleman's name is, the player from Kairat. He had a fair piece of his shirt, so much so that soon after the penalty was scored, as Kairat are celebrating, I'm pretty sure I saw some of the lettering from Jorginho's shirt on the back. I think it would have been ripped off or was hanging by a thread. Like, just hilarious stuff. Like, I don't recall seen something like that before. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Like, literally, you've taken that much of a piece of someone's shirt that you've pulled off the lettering or something on there. Like, amazing stuff. Like, it's the type of random madness that this game threw up that otherwise, it could have driven us all. We could have made us angry, conceded something of that nature. But for me, in a game of this stakes, I was actually laughing. Me and my son was looking at it. We watched the replay as well at halftime, and you can only smile. You can only chuckle at that. Like, he's literally taken off the lettering. It was as clear a pullback as you will see. And yet, 1-1. So Arsenal responded well straight away. We were right back involved again. A great finish for Kai Havertz. He really, really deserved that moment. It was an excellent take and finish. I'm so glad he scored, because just to have that moment again at the Emirates in front of the home fans, have his song played, the Waka Waka, it was just a great moment. You saw the emotions in him as well, getting around his teammates. It really meant a lot. And I'm just hoping that this is the kind of building block now for the remaining 3 to 4 months of this season, that we know what's at stake. We know what we're going for. And we know that there's just something lacking in our attack, in our forward, in our finishing. We know some goals have dried up from our centre forwards and our wingers. You've probably seen that stat that's been widely circulated. Look, it was what's the word I'm looking for? Like that stat that you've seen from Sky Sports it was heavily manipulated, I feel. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but you saw some players, it's got all competitions. Some players, it's just got Premier League or Champions League or open play goals, for example, when they mentioned Gyökeres. So it was, I get what they were trying to do. We effectively just zooming out and looking at the goals have dried up from a number of our forwards, and I do believe that there's more to come, and certain players, we are hoping that they do step up in the back end of this season. But equally, I don't think it's as bad as maybe that snapshot tried to make it, because somehow Arsenal are still, I believe, we're top scorers in the Premier League, or joint top scorers. We have a collective avenue to goal. We haven't, I know own goals as well has boosted us in this last month or so, but still across the board, we're a very even contributing team. So I'm not as worried about that in isolation. However, what I will say is that I do understand that to go and do what we're trying to do to lift those major trophies, at some point you're gonna need that spark. You're gonna need some player, hopefully someone like a Saka, just to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and just make it happen in low blocks, in low chance XG types of games, where we've got teams parking the bus. You just need that moment of magic. Someone can blast one in from outside the box, take the shot on, take the risk. I do believe there's something in that, and I'm hoping we do see it. And if it's Bukayo Saka or someone else who does it, I know we've got the capability. However, that's the part that I take away mostly from that stat, that we just are lacking something there. And if we've got Havertz back now in goal-scoring form and mostly just being fit, he links so much, and he's such a versatile footballer. He's some of his best football, I remember, at Leverkusen. He came playing off the main striker, playing in behind them. And that's where he played this match. He played as an advanced midfielder. And there's something in that. There's something I want to see more of. Because I think with Kai Havertz, a fit Kai Havertz back in your squad gives you so much up your sleeve, and I'm quite excited for that. So we should have had more goals. Eventually, the third goal has come. I believe Gyökeres took the first touch, and it was called offside to begin with. So I didn't think too much of it watching it live. I was quite certain that even though they check everything, that it was still going to be confirmed as offside. But Gyökeres, he's got the touch. I wonder if that was going in. But looking at Martinelli's behind him, he bundles over the line, 3-1. It should have been more. Look, this is. I don't want to be too critical about this because on the balance of the match, we got what we wanted to do. Job done. 8 from 8. Top spot secured. A number of minutes into the legs of the squad. So in that respect, it's fine. We did leave a number of goals out there, especially for Gyökeres. I mean, if you haven't seen the replay yet, watch Lewis Skelly's reaction with that cutback when he played it into Gyökeres and he's missed it. Lewis Skelly was furious. I think he wanted that assist to go to his name, and he probably deserved it as well to have some sort of contribution recorded. Even a few minutes later, he drove forward himself and thought, okay, I'm just going to crack one in myself, and he's blasted it well over the bar, and it was it should have been more. So 2 changes at halftime. I imagine these were pre-planned. Get 45 minutes into Havertz, 45 minutes into Calafiori. On came Hincapié and Odegaard. And I think it was a big half for Odegaard. He's come under a lot of discussion, as he quite often does. And look, I thought he was very good. It's nice to see him and Eze paired together. It's not something we usually see. So this is the type of game to experiment with those sorts of things. Just like I just said with Havertz back in midfield, like just use this match opportunity to try different things, because we are otherwise getting a little bit stale, a little bit predictable lately in the Premier League. So having these relationships, trying different things, different angles, positioning on the pitch as well, this was a great time to do it. The second half didn't quite live up to the first. It was fun to watch, end-to-end stuff in the first half, lots of opportunities, lots of chances. Second half, not so much. The match kind of drifted as well, which again, it's fine. Maybe players were playing within themselves. We don't want any further injuries or anything like that. So there wasn't really any major notable moments that I can recall or think of. Few half chances. I thought Madueke was very bright at times. Doesn't quite have that end product to show for it just yet. He's a little bit rough around the edges sometimes when it comes to the final shot or pass. Everything else looks fantastic. He was just brilliant on his feet sometimes, dancing around plays, gliding, the step overs, the pirouettes. He's got all the makings, and we're just trying to polish off that final part of him. And there's a hell of a player, in there waiting to look. I will say this again. I thought Lewis Skelly across the 90 minutes, I thought he was consistently our best player. Eze grew into the match in the second half. I thought otherwise we were fine. We were composed. Mosquera, like what a signing he has been. He is 12, 13 million pounds for a player of his calibre. Fantastic piece of business by the club. Norgard was fine as well. So just a really good opportunity just to get an extended amount of minutes into their legs. Some lovely moments later on in the match. Firstly, to young Bailey Joseph, I believe his name is. I'm not going to pretend to know too much about these young men, aside from the fact that they're teenagers, been at the club for a long, long time, academy players, just fantastic for all of them. It's a real celebration for a player from Hayland, right, for their families, for their representatives, for all their coaches, from the time that they were 8, 9, 10 years old onwards. It's just a fantastic moment for all of them to share a moment like this, to be brought on in a Champions League match for your senior debut at that age. It's just phenomenal, and well done to Arteta. I'm so pleased he did this. Even a few minutes later, young Ibrahim, midfielder, came on. Just such youthful looking faces. Like, there's a part of me that just, as a dad myself, like a part of me melts when I see that. Just so lovely, and just what it would mean for them individually, their families, just their loved ones. It would just be incredible. So I'm so pleased they got to have that moment, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know where their future careers may lie. The reality is it may not be at Arsenal, especially Arsenal being at the standard we are now. I mean, we're that good that Waneri has been loaned out to find senior first team minutes in the last week or so. So you never know what's in the future. All you can really do is just enjoy the moment, the present right now. And it's just a fantastic moment for them. I'm really pleased Arteta did it, because in the not too distant past, we might have seen the likes of Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, warming up on the sidelines to be brought on with 8, 9, 10 minutes to go in a match of this nature. Full credit to him, and I'm just glad they got their moment. It was heartwarming stuff. So ultimately, the match finishes 3-2. It was a pretty poor goal to concede right at the end there. I get it. I don't think anyone's will be too thrilled with that, but I can't begrudge Kairat having their moment, what it meant to them, their away fans, the players, the looks on their faces. It was really lovely to see, post-match. I only saw a snippet of it before I switched the TV off to come out and record this. But, good on them because it's lifelong memories for them. It's once in a lifetime opportunity as well for some of their fans to travel to London and see a match like that. And look, good on them in that respect. It's a strange end to the game because Arsenal have conceded two. Yeah, that's right. I think we've only conceded 2 goals for the entire tournament up until this match. So 2 goals out of 7, and then Kairat come to the Emirates and score twice themselves. It's the mad nature of this game. If it was a game that actually had different stakes, I imagine the outcome would have been very, very different. But ultimately, 3-2 to Arsenal, just what we needed. Because this weekend, it is on like Donkey Kong again. We need our first teamers, so to speak. We need big performances from them away to Leeds. Leeds are in good form. It's a tough place to go. And look, there's no easy matches in the Premier League. I do think it's a good thing as well that it's an away match, that we play with a different type of freedom as well away in the league, as opposed to maybe just some of the tension, the nerves that are creeping in at home at the Emirates Stadium. So I think it's a good opportunity for the club. We go there with full rest to the likes of Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, Saka. Of course, it's Trossard as well. So we've been able to really give them a breather. Zubimendi's had very little respite as well in the last few weeks and months. So I think it's just really, really important that we go there with intention, with purpose. And look, I thought Arteta spoke very, very well at his press conference yesterday. He said all the right things, galvanised the club, galvanising the entire fan base too. I liked his usage of words. He's basically saying, get on the boat now, because the next 4 months, we all want to dream big and go for it. I really, really liked that, and I'd like to see that energy transmit into the performance this weekend, because if we can go there, win against Leeds, 3 points away on the road, we've got a 4-point buffer, right? It's probably a little bit tighter than what it could have been in the last week and a half. However, it could also be a lot worse because the City have been stumbling as well. I believe they've won their match this morning. Again, I'm sorry. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen any of the other results. So I believe they finished top 8. I was hoping that, that they might be thrown into the mixture of playing the 2 extra matches, the 2 qualifying rounds that Arsenal have skipped by finishing top. But please correct me if I'm wrong. There's a lot of football still to come, and it's all in our hands. So it's a massive week coming up for the club. That's why I'm glad so many first teamers got a bit of a breather to refresh, because it's Leeds away this week, and as I've said, then midweek next week, the second leg of the EFL Cup, and then next weekend we host Sunderland in the Premier League. So it's massive. The games are coming in thick and fast, and there's so much to play for, and I'm just hoping that we put together a good run now. If you get 3 wins out of those 3, the entire dynamic changes. Just the entire complexion around the club and its fan base would completely change just by going out there and steering it back in the direction that we all want. I'm here for it. I'm confident. I will be recording as well, post match on all 3 of them. So if you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe on YouTube. That will be greatly appreciated. Please, if you're listening on audio platforms, please follow the show. Leave me a 5-star review. It will be a great help as well. But look, until then, just enjoy the moment, enjoy the ride, because there's some special things on the horizon this year for Arsenal, and I truly believe we're in store for something great. So until then, I'll talk to you all soon. Look after yourselves, check in with your loved ones, and come on, Arsenal.